fakultas favorit bagi para pelajar yang ingin menempuh pendidikan ekonomi dan bisnis. Berdiri sejak tahun 1964, saat ini FEB UMM telah memiliki 3 program studi untuk jenjang S1 dan 1 program studi D3, yaitu program studi manajemen, akuntansi, ilmu ekonomi dan studi pembangunan, dan program Diploma 3 Manajemen Keuangan Perbankan. Sedangkan program studi Magister Manajemen masih di bawah program Pascasarjana. Untuk menunjang program pembelajaran, FEB UMM juga ditunjang dengan berbagai sarana prasarana. Di antaranya laboratorium manajemen, laboratorium akuntansi, laboratorium perbankan syariah, laboratorium bank konvensional, pojok Bursa Efek Indonesia, perpustakaan, hotspot area, dan lain-lain.
Bapak Ibu, sekali lagi kami mohon berkenan untuk bisa bergeser mengisi tempat duduk yang ada di depan terlebih dahulu agar nanti saat di syuting bisa full yang ada di depannya.
Perkenalkan, nama saya Tata Budi Prasetyo. Saya mahasiswa program studi manajemen Fakultas Ekonomi dan Bisnis, Universitas Muhammadiyah Malang. Pengalaman belajar di Fakultas
Silakan
Ekonomi
Bapak Ibu yang ada di sebelah utara juga bisa maju mengisi tempat duduk yang ada di depan.
Dilengkapi dengan kelas-kelas
Mohon
praktikum.
berkenan untuk bergeser, bisa mengisi tempat duduk yang ada di depan terlebih
Bisa saya
dahulu.
peroleh dan saya pelajari di sini. Selain itu juga dilengkapi dengan fasilitas laboratorium yang baik, di mana saya bisa belajar dengan maksimal di situ. Saya bersyukur belajar ini lagi lebih dalam tentang ilmu manajemen yang saya pelajari.
Student today, leader tomorrow.
Student today,
Leader tomorrow.
student today, leader tomorrow.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, on Humanities and Social Science held by Faculty of Social and Political Science and also Faculty of Economic and Business, University of Muhammadiyah Malang. Before we start today's agenda, we would like to present to you traditional dance performance from the students of UMM. This dance tells the story of a man with a beautiful, gentle, and at the same time valiant face who wanders in the Osing community area. A dance that elevates the history of Barong from Kemiren Village, Banyuwangi Regency. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause to Fenina and Tara with their performance Jaripah Traditional Dance.
iku ya mbok, apuo sih?
Krungu kabar, jare rawatan Riko ilang ya.
Iya mbok, piaro.
Ketiga.
Numpak sepeda jangan diputar, kalau diputar rusak rodanya. Anak muda belajar pinter, kalau pinter mahal harganya. Numpak sepeda jangan diputar, kalau diputar rusak rodanya. Anak muda belajar pinter, kalau pinter mahal harganya.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The honorable keynote speakers of today's agenda, Professor Rafiq Karsidi, Private Staff of Coordinating Minister for Human Development and Culture, represent Professor Muhajir Effendi, the Honorable Professor Syamsul Arifin, Vice Rector of Academic Affairs, University of Muhammadiyah Malang. Our gorgeous speakers, Dr. Vina Salviana, Yashkola PhD, Dr. Hadijah Alafi, Dr. Pirasit Kamnua Silpa, Dr. Eko Handayanto, and also all the participants and audiences. First of all, we would like to say welcome to you all to this very special occasion, the International Conference on Humanities and Social Science by the theme, Social and Political Issues on Sustainable Development in Post-COVID-19 Crisis. Before we go, we would like to ask you, all the participants who joined this conference by Zoom meeting, to please turn off the microphone during the conference. Ladies and gentlemen, now we would like to ask you to stand up and sing Indonesia Raya and Muhammadiyah anthem together. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand up. Indonesia Raya. Sang Surya. Ladies and gentlemen, please have a seat. The next agenda is reciting Holy Quran. Mr. Fikri Robbuna, time is yours.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ربنا واجعلنا مسلمين لك ومن ذريتنا أمة مسلمة لك وأرنا مناسكنا وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. ربنا وابعث فيهم رسولا منهم يتلو عليهم آياتك ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة ويزكيهم إنك أنت العزيز الحكيم صدق الله العظيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Thank you, Mr. Fikri. May God grant us the grace by listening the recitation of the Quran. Ladies and gentlemen, now let's listen carefully to the welcoming speech from Vice Rector of Academic Affairs, University of Muhammadiyah Malang, Professor Syamsul Arifin. We invite you to give a speech and open this conference.
Baca. I'm wearing the double mask, so I want to take down the one of the mask, only one, to protect our health. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I repeat again my greeting. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yeah. Innal hamdalillah la haula wala quwwata illa billah. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wa asyhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu la nabiyya ba'da. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Amma ba'du. The Honorable Professor Rafiq Karsidi. He is special staff from the Coordinating Ministry of Human Development and Culture. And the Honorable, all of invited speakers, I would like to mention one by one. I hope my pronunciation is right. The first is Parasit. Kam Nuasipa, is correct? I'm so sorry, from the Kongkran University, Thailand. Yeah. And Yas Kaula from Poland. Is correct, Pak Wit? Yeah, from Poland. And the third from Malaysia, Professor Khadijah Alafi. And the fourth is from here, Associate Professor Vina Salviana. And the last but not least, my colleague, and who is also the best player in tennis court, Associate Professor Eko Handayanto. And the Honorable, the Dean, both from the Faculty of Economic and Business, Bu Ida Sahra, and the Dean for the Faculty of Social and Political Science, Pak Dr. Inikso Kartono. And I would like to say hello to the Director for the Institute for the Development, Publication Development, or in bahasa LPPI, ya, Lembaga Pengembangan Publikasi Ilmiah. and the Honorable, our colleague from France, Pak Matthew. Hello, how are you? Yeah. Let's give thanks to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, because we always get the blessing and the health, so we can gather in the good forum. I think it's the second international conference that held by University of Madya Malang. The last week we already held, I think it's good international conference that held by three faculties: the Faculty of Islamic Studies, and then the Faculty of Psychology, and the Faculty of Education and Teaching Training, yeah, FKIP. And now it's the second round. The international conference is a good collaboration between the Faculty of Economic and Business and the Faculty of Social and Political Science. So, on behalf of the Chancellor of University of Madya Malang, I would like to give the highest appreciation for the good collaboration between the Faculty of Economic and Business and the Faculty of Social and Political Science. And secondly, I would like to express my gratitude to the invited speaker, and especially to the keynote speaker, Professor Rafiq Karsidi, that can join virtually from Jakarta. Actually, we want to hear, we want to enjoy with the Professor Muhajir, but suddenly Professor Muhajir have the meeting with the President. So thank you so much for the invited speaker, and especially for the keynote speaker, Professor Rafiq Karsidi. And finally, I think we can get some benefit from this conference. One of the benefits is we can, it's a good forum to express, to disseminate our invention in the research, and hopefully this conference, especially held by the Faculty of Economic and Business and Faculty of Social and Political Science, is not the first and the end. Because I always suggestion to the team, we imagine to hold annually international conference. So I hope in the next years we can hold again the international conference like this. So once again, my highest appreciation on behalf of the Rector of University of Muhammadiyah Malang. That's all, and let's start this conference by saying together Basmalah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shamsul. Now we invite you to beat the gong as the sign of the opening ceremony, accompanied by Dean of Faculty of Economic and Business, Dr. Ida Zuhra, Dean of Social and Political Science, Dr. Rinik Soekartono, and also General Chair of this conference, Dr. Oman Sukmana. Please come to the stage and accompany Mr. Shamsul to beat the gong as a sign of the opening ceremony. Three times. Well, thank you very much, Bapak dan Ibu. The beating of the gong that we just witnessed signaled the end of the opening ceremony. Thank you very much, and please have a seat. Ladies and gentlemen, now let's move to the main agenda of this conference in accordance to the special issues of social and political issues on sustainable development in post-COVID-19 crisis. And this section will start by the speech of our keynote speakers, Professor Rafiq Karsidi, the private staff of Coordinating Minister for Human Development and Culture. Time is given to you. Baik Bapak Ibu, please wait for a while karena kita sedang ada technical problem. Jadi mohon ditunggu sebentar. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are very sorry for the technical issues and thank you very much for waiting patiently. Now, let's move to the main agenda of this conference in accordance to the special issues of social and political issues on sustainable development in post-COVID-19 crisis. And this conference section will start by the speech of our keynote speaker, Professor Rafiq Karsidi, Private Staff of Coordinating Minister for Human Development and Culture. Time is given to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ya. Ya. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Ya, okay. The distinguished speaker and guest of International Conference on Humanities and Social Sciences, also Pak Rektor, Pak Dekan, and all of the participants. Here, I would like to present something, but because very what you call Pak Menteri give me task about 10 minutes before, so I would like to speak in Indonesia in bahasa, and I would like to share my slide. Pak Rektor, mohon maaf Pak Menko, pada hari ini tiba-tiba harus ada acara yang harus dilakukan oleh beliau. Pak Dekan juga mohon maaf karena tiba-tiba ini harus ada rapat bersama para menteri dan kemudian menugaskan kepada saya untuk menyampaikan ini. Perkenankan saya menyampaikan dalam bahasa khususnya saya memberikan apresiasi kepada UM, khususnya Fakultas Ilmu Sosial dan Ilmu Politik dan Fakultas Ekonomi dan Bisnis Universitas Muhammadiyah Malang yang telah menyelenggarakan International Conference on Humanities and Social Sciences untuk yang pertama kali. Saya tadi diminta untuk menyampaikan kira-kira sekitar khususnya peluang ilmu sosial di Indonesia dalam mengatasi dampak COVID tahun ini. Secara cepat perkenankan saya Bu Uci bahwa sekarang ini munculnya COVID-19 itu ternyata bersamaan dengan terjadinya disrupsi yang sebenarnya sudah terjadi mulai bahkan sebelum COVID ini mulai, kira-kira begitu. Itu yang perlu menjadi perhatian kita semua. Contoh misalnya bahwa otomatisasi, kemudian digitalisasi, demikian juga artificial intelligence, ya, pekerjaan-pekerjaan menjadi berkurang atau bahkan terjadi pengangguran itu di banyak pekerjaan, ya, baik itu di pertanian atau juga mungkin di pabrik atau juga buruh bangunan, bahkan juga mungkin civil servant, pegawai negeri, ya, seperti itu. Nah, diperkirakan sekitar 60% jabatan pekerjaan di dunia ini akan menggunakan otomatisasi, sehingga itu tadilah yang akan menjadi akibat untuk kita, bagi kita semua. Demikian juga sekitar 30% pekerjaan di dunia akan digantikan oleh mesin-mesin canggih. Ini yang perlu diperhatikan oleh kita semua. Bahkan ada perkiraan sekitar 3,7 juta pekerjaan baru seiring dengan apa yang tadi disebut sebagai munculnya otomatisasi, digitalisasi, kemudian AI atau artificial intelligence itu akan muncul dan menggantikan yang lama, kira-kira begitu. Nah, Bapak dan Ibu yang saya hormati, untuk ini semua kondisi nasional akibat pandemi itu kata lainnya adalah mempercepat disrupsi, kira-kira begitu. Bapak dan Ibu yang saya hormati, demikian juga di bidang pendidikan dan dunia kerja akan mendorong perubahan, kita sebut namanya perubahan struktural yang sangat cepat. Nah, ini semua harus diantisipasi, dan ilmu sosial dan humaniora menjadi penting, harus mengantisipasi dan bahkan melakukan hal-hal yang harus dilakukan untuk ini semua. Bapak Ibu yang saya hormati, misalnya di bidang pendidikan yang juga merupakan bagian dari lingkup pekerjaan kami di Kementerian PMK ini adalah belajar dari rumah, ya, akibat pandemi ini telah menjadi alternatif. Bahkan kemudian banyak kendala itu di sekolah, juga oleh siswa, juga orang tua, demikian juga guru. Nah, kendala-kendala yang paling utama dirasakan sebagai akibat sosialnya adalah, khususnya adalah orang tua yang semula dulu terlalu menyerahkan pekerjaan kepada sekolah, sekarang mereka harus melakukan. Guru, persoalannya adalah barangkali tidak tersedianya sarana mengajar atau tidak siapnya menggunakan perangkat-perangkat yang tadi digital dan sebagainya, seperti itu. Bapak dan Ibu yang saya hormati, masih ada persoalan tentang pemahaman COVID ini. Dari sisi ilmu sosial misalnya, kita menggunakan teori konstruksi sosial dari Peter Berger misalnya, gitu ya. Ada beda pandangan antara medis dan juga sosial, khususnya sosiologi. Kalau medis melihat COVID itu sebagai katakanlah, itu virus bisa mematikan, kemudian menular dan sebagainya. Tetapi sosiologi barangkali melihatnya ini adalah satu pergantian yang luar biasa, terutama ini adalah satu proses perubahan sosial yang dalam hal ini Covid-19 ini dilihatnya sebagai fakta yang membagi pemahaman dari istilahnya Berger itu adalah eksternalisasi, objektifikasi, dan internalisasi. Ini misalnya bahwa katakanlah sosiologi berpendapat, ini sebagai pengetahuan misalnya, katakanlah perlu standarisasi teknologi yang selama ini masyarakat belum paham, sehingga harus memahami misalnya, ya, perlu mentata ulang ritual budaya, katakanlah misalnya jaga jarak dan sebagainya. Ini kan susah sekali. Atau katakanlah social security net, ya, terutama kebutuhan dasar dan kebutuhan komunikasi yang selama ini tiba-tiba terjadi begitu saja, gitu. Nah, itulah sebenarnya dalam bahasa sosialnya adalah perlu penyiapan perubahan sosial masyarakat, khususnya masyarakat yang harus mengadopsi digitalisasi termasuk sekolah dan sebagainya. Nah, dari sisi itu saja memang lalu problemnya adalah solusinya dari sisi sosial berbeda dengan medis misalnya. Nah, ini harus perlu diperhatikan. Bapak Ibu yang saya hormati, yang tadi saya katakan berbeda pendapat itulah kemudian menimbulkan apa yang disebut dengan diferensiasi sosial di era COVID ini. Bahkan misalnya sekarang terjadi gap antara pemerintah yang cenderung katakanlah awal-awal itu melihat itu sebagai masalah medis, kemudian masyarakat dan kurang melihat dari sisi sosialnya, maka kemudian terjadi jarak ya. Yang terjadi apa? Ketidakpatuhan atau sosial kontrol lemah. Sementara walaupun kontrol negara kuat, itu pun tidak menjamin kira-kira seperti itu. Bapak Ibu yang saya hormati, jadi kata lainnya adalah ada gap antara orang awam dan orang yang bukan awam tentang COVID itu sendiri sampai sekarang masih sangat dirasakan. Bahkan beda antara pemerintah, persepsinya berbeda dengan tenaga medik dan juga oleh masyarakat. Bapak Ibu yang saya hormati, yang sangat kita pahami karena kita orang kampus misalnya, munculnya ketimpangan sosial dalam pendidikan misalnya dalam hal persoalan kemampuan, misalnya menggunakan internet atau tidak menggunakan internet, belum siap menggunakan atau katakanlah punya atau tidak punya HP Android yang digunakan misalnya. Sementara misalnya Pak Menteri atau Mas Menteri harus menggunakan blended learning versus e-learning atau mungkin tadi yang saya sebut digitalisasi. Jadi blended learning merupakan jalan tengah misalnya. Bapak Ibu yang saya hormati, tadi kembali kepada persoalan disrupsi di dunia pendidikan, saya kira akan banyak perubahan. Jadi misalnya media belajar online merupakan alternatif yang mau tidak mau ya. Ini perubahan sistem sosial dalam pendidikan ya. Ini mau tidak mau itu adalah sesuatu yang harus diperhatikan kita bersama. Gaya hidup juga begitu, perubahan perilaku dari sisi konsumsi dan sebagainya, setidaknya akan terjadi perubahan besar-besaran ini. Ada teman yang meneliti misalnya, termasuk yang merah-merah saya buat ini misalnya, low trust society, ada masyarakat yang tidak percaya atau percayanya rendah sekali ya, seperti itu. Kemudian munculnya generasi disebut generasi Zoom misalnya sekarang ya, ada lifestyle yang clouding gitu misalnya, ada telemedicine ya gitu. Kemudian online homeschooling sekarang menjadi alternatif dan juga kekosongan-kekosongan tertentu, terutama persoalan solidaritas menurun dan sebagainya. Bapak Ibu yang saya hormati, dalam bidang ilmu sosial saya ingin usul mestinya harus muncul inovasi sosial. Inovasi yang dalam hal ini misalnya sudah ada dalam konteks misalnya PPKM, itu adalah bagian dari inovasi pemberdayaan masyarakat dalam pencegahan COVID di tingkat lokal, tingkat komunitas misalnya. Itu sudah terjadi. Contoh misalnya di Jawa Tengah ada istilahnya gerakan Joko Tonggo, kemudian di Jawa Timur ada gerakan Kampung Tangguh. Ini adalah muncul dengan sendirinya, tapi tidak terkoordinasi. Nah, ini teman-teman dari ilmu sosial menjadi sangat penting, dan karena itu menurut saya kata kuncinya adalah perlunya aktualisasi potensi lokal sebagai inovasi sosial. Saya ingin mengutip bagaimana Pak Chun Hee tahun 70 membawa konsep apa yang disebut dengan Simaul Undong dari Aceh, Indonesia, dan kemudian menjadi sesuatu gerakan yang luar biasa dan memacu kemajuan di Korea Selatan. Nah, Indonesia itu namanya gotong royong itu kan sudah zaman-zaman dulu kala kira-kira. Nah, mengapa ini tidak kemudian kita perkuat ya? Dan saya ingin mengatakan sekarang ini sebenarnya momentum yang tepat untuk kita mengatasi masalah dengan berbasis pada potensi lokal, yaitu ini kalau bisa menjadi budaya bangsa Indonesia. Dan tentu ini pembelajaran yang baik bagi kami di pemerintahan. Harusnya kebijakan endogen, yaitu kebijakan yang dari dalam yang memperhatikan apa yang dimaksud dan diinginkan oleh masyarakat jauh lebih penting dibandingkan kebijakan yang sifatnya doktriner dari atas. Nah, teman-teman sekalian, dalam konteks seminar pada kali ini saya ingin mengatakan seharusnya peran ilmu sosial yang pertama di UMM ini nanti hendaknya bisa mendorong terwujudnya kebijakan endogen, yaitu kebijakan yang berpihak mewujudkan inovasi tadi yang berbasis potensi lokal. Bapak Ibu yang saya hormati, persoalan kita yang terakhir saya ingin sampaikan adalah bagaimana menyambut peradaban baru ini. Ya, saya kira ya mau tidak mau kebijakan eksogen harus sudah mulai dikurangi, kebijakan endogen itu diutamakan. Istilah saya adalah bagaimana mampu kita semua itu mengglobalkan hal-hal yang positif yang dari lokal yang kita miliki, tidak semata-mata kita melokalkan hal yang global, sekedar kita meniru tadi misalnya. Itu teman-teman sekalian, dan ilmu kita di ilmu sosial saya kira tahu bahwa teori perubahan sosial seperti ini di tingkat individu terutama adalah jangka pendeknya ada perubahan attitude ya, sikap, ada perubahan perilaku, kemudian di tingkat kelompok ada perubahan normatif ya, perubahan administratif, dan juga terjadi revolusi yaitu intensi. Ini nampak sekali kalau ini digunakan sebagai analisis untuk sekarang ini pada saat COVID. Bapak Ibu yang saya hormati, perubahan yang sangat-sangat besar tadi saya ingin jelaskan adalah contohnya seperti ini. Bagaimana pendidikan melakukan adaptasi perubahan. Nah ini mungkin tata layout ruang kelas juga akan berubah. Pak Rektor, Pak Dekan mungkin tidak perlu membangun gedung banyak-banyak kemudian. Kira-kira, tapi yang penting adalah barangkali studio yang digitalized ya, seperti itu. Pemberian tugas yang fleksibel juga dan merubah berbagai gaya belajar, juga gaya mengajar. Nah kemudian virtual reality dan augmented reality ini akan merubah landscape pendidikan kita tentu, dan sekarang sudah dipakai juga di UMM yang saya tahu ada massive open online course, tetapi saya duga tidak semua dosen siap untuk ini semua. Bapak Ibu yang saya hormati, artinya saya ingin mengatakan bahwa konsep sekolah akan berubah drastis, konsep kampus juga akan berubah drastis. Ini perlu diantisipasi demikian rupa karena adanya COVID ini tadi. Bapak Ibu yang saya hormati, akhirnya saya ingin mengatakan bahwa bagaimana kita semua di kampus ini bisa mengantar stakeholder kita, bisa adaptif terhadap perubahan dengan cara bersikap kritis dan analitis dan bertindak agile. Apa itu? Ya, tangkas dan gesit, yaitu paling tidak mampu mengidentifikasi masalah dan atau peluang yang tepat, mampu bergerak cepat, menindaklanjuti dan mencari solusinya, dan yang ketiga adalah melakukan keduanya secara iteratif, artinya berulang-ulang tanpa henti dalam periode yang tentu saya menduga bahwa COVID ini tidak atau belum segera akan berlalu. Bapak Ibu yang saya hormati, terakhir adalah peluang inovasi ilmu sosial. Saya melis di sini ada banyak masalah, dan kira-kira kalau misalnya katakanlah riset apa yang sudah ada, tapi contoh tadi yang tentu harus dilakukan adalah kesulitan dosen membuat bahan ajar, sekolah belum efektif pemantauan belajar, ya saya kira alternatifnya adalah digitalisasi bahan dan metode pembelajaran, dan kemudian tentu juga tadi yang saya sebut pembentukan kampung atau RT mandiri, PPKM yang sekarang menjadi alternatif itu bagian dari ilmu sosial. Masih banyak yang saya kira bisa peluang untuk bisa dilakukan oleh teman-teman ilmu sosial, khususnya bagaimana integrasi sosial dilakukan di semua lokasi atas fasilitasi teman-teman ahli ilmu sosial, dan demikian juga hal-hal yang tentu aspek ekonomi ini ada teman-teman Fakultas Ekonomi juga adalah misalnya sekarang produksi rumahan itu jauh lebih penting dibandingkan yang outlet dan sebagainya. Outlet sudah lama-lama hilang, bahkan kemudian pesannya itu sudah langsung online dan sebagainya seperti itu. Ini butuh pendampingan dan sebagainya ke depan. Demikian Bu Uci Yulianti sebagai moderator kali ini. Sekali lagi mewakili Pak Menteri, mohon maaf karena hari ini ada rapat dengan beberapa kementerian yang mendadak dan tidak bisa langsung hadir. Saya mohon maaf dan demikian mudah-mudahan bermanfaat bagi teman-teman peserta semuanya. Saya akhiri dan mohon maaf atas segala kekurangan. Bila ada hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat berseminar, sukses untuk semua kita.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for the words that have been conveyed by Mr. Rafiq, Private Staff of Coordinating Minister of Human Development and Culture. Ladies and gentlemen, now let's heed to all the gorgeous speakers of today's conference. But before that, I would like to greet our greatest moderator, Mr. Gonda Yumitro, an Associate Professor at Department of International Relations, University of Muhammadiyah Malang. He just finished his PhD on Political Science in International Relations, International Islamic University, Malaysia. And his research interests lie in the area of international relations and political Islam. Will Mr. Gonda Yumitro please lead the stage?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulihil karim, nabiyina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Thanks to God that today we all are here together, offline and online, to join the international conference with very interesting topic, social and political issue on sustainable development in post-COVID-19 crisis. I think that the committee supposed that the COVID will be over soon. So we try to prepare what should we do in the future, especially in the field of social, political, and also the economics. And as we know that the COVID has affected seriously to various aspects of life of people currently, and either in social, political, also in economic, or also maybe in various other field. And some countries, I think that the effect is not only in one country, but in various countries over the globe. That is why in this conference, we have some invited speakers, which are coming from various countries, from Europe, from Thailand, from Malaysia, and also from Indonesia. And each of the speakers would like to share the experience of each country, in their field, either in social, political, or also in economic field. And for our conference today, because we have quite limited times, we will finish our discussion at 4. So I think that each speakers will give or share their notions only around 10 to 15 minutes maximum. And with us, the first speaker will be Associate Professor Vina Salviana. She is the Vice Director of the Directorate of Research and Community Service in the University of Muhammadiyah Malang. She has huge number of experience, either in national and also in international level, and she concerns his research on the issue of gender, especially social and political issue of genders. That is why in our conference today, Dr. Vina would like to convey the topic about the women's roles on sustainable development and post-COVID-19 crisis in Indonesia. And the second speakers, we will have Assistant Professor Yash Kaula, from Wrocław University of Science and Technology from Poland. You know that University of Muhammadiyah Malang has quite close relation with Poland. Some lecturers coming from Poland, they are teaching in our university. And Dr. Yash, Dr. Yash, has huge number of experience. He won some awards and also the recognitions. And amazingly, he hold 5 academic degree. Yeah, twice times for bachelor degree, twice time for master degree. Yeah, unfortunately, it is only 1 times for PhD. I think that maybe should take 1 more. Yeah, you should continue for 1 more PhD. Yeah, and I think that the Department of Economic in University of Muhammadiyah Malang is available. Yeah, I think that this is the point. Yeah, and the third speakers, yeah, the Professor Perasit, yeah, Komunasilpa from Konkain University. Yeah, I think that we have 1 lecturer in our university, graduated from Konkain University. Yeah, Dr. Udin Salahuddin. Yeah, Salahuddin, who just got the award, yeah, from our university as the best lecturer. I think that his achievement absolutely got the impact or influence from the existence of the Konkan University, especially I think that from the guidance of Professor Perasit. Yeah, Professor Perasit is quite senior, so he has huge number of experience. Yeah, not only in the level of Thailand, but also he has huge number of experience internationally. Yeah, he becomes the invited professor in several university. Yeah, like, yeah, mostly I think that in America. And today, yeah, he would like to share, I think that the perspective of politics. Yeah, and the third speaker will be Associate Professor Khadija Alawi. Yeah, Professor Khadija Alawi, yeah, is Associate Professor from Faculty of Social Science and Humanities, University Kebangsaan Malaysia. And I think I was wondering before, since I checked, yeah, her biography, that she graduated from University of Andalas. I don't know why. I mean, that either actually she is Indonesian or she loved Indonesia. So she continued her study in Andalas. Yeah, I think that later you can confirm regarding this. Yeah, and her concerns is about the elderly. Yeah, in a social, I think that social welfare. That is why Dr. Khadija Alawi will convey the papers about the preparedness for serving the elderly care during the COVID-19 integrated policy for Malaysia. So the experience from Malaysia will be shared by Associate Professor Khadija Alawi. Yeah, and the last speaker, yeah, will be Dr. Eko Handayanto. Yeah, he is the expert from University of Muhammadiyah Malang, yeah, in the field of economic. And today, yeah, he would like to share, yeah, the result of his research regarding the consumer panics buying in the COVID pandemic area. Because, yeah, some people, I think that they got information that, okay, for example, the market will be closed, etc. So everybody become panic and they would like to buy, yeah, everything. And absolutely, it also will affect the social, economic, even also maybe the political life of the people. Yeah. So from this, we know that all the speakers are the experts of their field. And to shorten the times, I would like to invite Dr. Vina Salviana, yeah, to give her speech. Yeah. Dr. Vina, yeah, the times is yours.
Thank you, Pak Gonda. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, everybody here. The first, I would like to say to the Honorable, the representative of Coordinating Ministry for Human Development and Cultural Affairs of Indonesia, and the Honorable Vice One of Rector of University of Muhammadiyah Malang, and also the Honorable Professor Dr. Pirasit Kamnu Al-Silpa from Konkan University, and Professor Dr. Fruklau, Professor Dr. Yas Kaula from Fruklau University of Science and Technology, and the Honorable Professor Hadijah Alafi from UKM, and also my best friend, Dr. Eko Handayanto. And good evening to all of the participants of this conference. I would like to share about the women's role on sustainable development in post-COVID-19 crisis in Indonesia. Let me share here. Discussing women's roles in comparison with men's in the sustainable development in the post-COVID-19 crisis in Indonesia does not merely contrast the roles quantitatively, but should emphasize the roles on their contribution qualitatively and substantively. Yeah, this can start from studying the problem existing during the pandemic period in Indonesia. We know the survey result of the United Nations Women. The title is Measuring the Effects of the COVID-19 on Gender and Achievement of the Goal of the Sustainable Development in Indonesia. Therefore, the data from the survey result of the United Nations Women become the basis for this present discussion. First, there are a lot of women in Indonesia who depend their income on family business. But 18% women have been experiencing a decrease in the source of income. Although 80% men also have had such a problem by they have got more benefits from their source of income. Second, since the pandemic, the percentage of informal working women who should reduce their paid working time is 36%, which is higher than men, namely 30%. Third, social distancing has caused 69% women and 61% men to spend more time to work domestic chores. The number shows that women have to carry the heaviest burden, remembering that women pass more time to care for and support their children than men do, with the comparison of 61% and 48% respectively. Fourth, the COVID-19 pandemic has affected women's mental and emotional health, since 57% women have experienced more stress and anxiety due to this increase of household work and care burden, the loss of job and income, and of gender-based violence. Whereas there are merely 48% men who have faced such problems. Yeah. The following data show that the condition of women in Indonesia in more detail, namely among others here, the women condition in Indonesia during pandemic. First, the data from the Ministry of Women Empowerment and Children Protection showing that up to June 2020, there were 5,970 women workers who were terminated and 16,941 women workers who were laid off. Moreover, there were 32,277 migrant Indonesian workers who were sent home from various countries, among of which 70.41% were women. This is proved by the survey result of Women's Rights Commission from May until May 2020 in various provinces in Indonesia, that women had double working time in the domestic field to accompany their children to learn at home, where their learning activities are usually done at school. Suitable with the Mr. Professor Rafika Sidis said before. The stay-at-home policy requires mothers is learn online learning technology for their children, and the need for living healthily and cleanly, and also for nutritious food during the COVID-19 pandemic era makes mothers provide more time to do domestic work. So from the data, it can be said that women are heavily affected by the pandemic in terms of economic and psychology, since they should encounter the family condition, where their children should do their various school tasks and face a great variety of obstacles. From this research, therefore, 1 from 3 respondents stated that the increase in housework have resulted in the increment in their stress level. Although the pandemic condition as a whole in various regions of Indonesia is well controlled, the recovery of their social, economic, and psychological condition of the citizens doesn't automatically follow their health condition significantly. As a result, the handling made and the assistance given by the government are not enough, and the society should be involved in recovering this condition. I would like to share the following the description of vaccination program from the government that have an impact on the economy recovery. The target of vaccination here, and then the vaccination on the right part, and then the vaccination target human resource of public health care workers and the elderly, for 40 million, 40 million, 349 and 49. And the right part here, vaccination, the second vaccination. This is the data from the Committee for Handling COVID and National Economic Recovery. The data above are obtained when the vaccine program has not ended yet. Meanwhile, a new phenomenon of the increase in the COVID-19 cases and new variants start to emerge in Indonesia, and this makes the condition worse. Then what is the woman's role in recovering this condition? According to World Health Organization, around 70% from the total number of global health workers are women. They are on the front line as nurses and community health workers. Another finding is the women have a greater tendency to obey the health protocol and make prevention measures than men do. This can be found in Indonesia in the community organization driven by women, and also at the we call Rukun Tetangga, neighborhood association level. Mothers join in PKK. PKK is Prosperity Families Empowerment, of which one of the program is health. Also participate to do awareness through socialization to their citizens to keep the health protocol, including moving quickly to make common kitchen or to provide food assistance for the families that should do self-isolation. Another effort in the economic and health fields is the emergence of convention business. Convention business working on making personal protective equipment, we call in Indonesia APD, which we are first confection business. It means that confection business and worker, mostly women, are able to catch the needs and also to give quick responsive to survive, so that their economy may run well and also to solve problems, namely limited availability of the personal protective equipment. So how about the high level? We know that the executive person, such as female leaders who deal with pandemic issue in Indonesia, such as Minister of Finance, Foreign Minister, Governor of East Java Province, Mayor of Surabaya, and others, very responsible. And the question is, why do women have higher ability in making adjustment and survival? We can see from the research on women, from the Hive State of the Workplace, research on women's strengths, a research report from the Hive State of the Workplace in 2017 revealed that women may work 10% higher than men. Another research by Pressbound Research Institute in Cambridge, Stephen Orszak, in Health Day News, proved that women may survive better than men from birth. So from the phenomena, it can be predicted that in the post-COVID-19 crisis, women with the existing capital may rise the rebuild and recover the society at any level. Certainly, women should take roles in all lines, either in executive, legislative, or social fields at any level. Women cannot be regarded as the second sex. We know from the Simone de Beauvoir in her book talking about women actually itself, not otherness, not the second sex, considered awake, passive and silent.
Dr. Fina has the times 1 or 2 minutes only left.
Okay. The handling of the COVID-19 pandemic gives a description of how women are able to face the psychological and economic crisis on the one hand, and on the other hand, to have sensitivity, humanity, and also spirit to care for their families. Women are considered to be weak, but it is their selflessness that even becomes their saints. Yeah, we know most of the people in the world think that women have characteristics such as gentle, caring, less rational, etc. But it is precisely this characteristic that become a strength in the pandemic period. I would like to show here the characteristic of women as second sex. But since during the pandemic, this has become strange. First, women are gentle, caring, and are more suitable to work as nurses. But during COVID-19 pandemic, becoming a nurse is on the front line in handling COVID-19 in hospitals. Second, women are more emotional and less rational. During the pandemic, it becomes strength to care for assist. Third, women are more suitable to work in the domestic sector inside the oikos. During the pandemic, area women are more easily to adjust when all jobs are pulled in, work from house, work from home. Fourth, women are more appropriate as bookkeepers in household. But after or during the pandemic, solve economic crisis in household to survive. Fifth, women are educators for their children. During the pandemic, they are able to substitute the teacher roles at school to become teacher at home. So from the phenomena, it can be stated that Indonesian women will be able to take roles in the development in the post-COVID-19 crisis with the potential in them. Women are not otherness, but selves, who are able to think and act quickly under conditions full of trials, since they have possessed capital to survive naturally, and they are formed from their life experience. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, Associate Professor Dr. Vina, for your very interesting explanations. Yeah, I think that the point she said that women's got impacted seriously because of the COVID. Because of that, the women struggling in order to shift their existence or even their characteristic. Yeah, but I think that later you can discuss, you can confirm more. One thing which you didn't mention regarding the affected to the women's regarding the COVID is that more women become pregnant. I think that I found around my place like that. I don't know, from Bukvina research, did you find such kind of thing or no? Yeah, a lot of baby born, yeah, during the COVID. Yeah. Okay, let's we come to the second speaker, right? Second speaker is Dr. Yash Kaula, yeah, which would like to discuss about the experience of Poland, yeah. Dr. Yash will discuss about the sustainable consumption. What can we do for the future? Yeah, the times is yours.
Thank you so much. Am I audible to everyone?
Yeah, thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it is clear.
Okay, great. Good evening to everybody in the east part of Asia, and if you're in Europe, then very good morning. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk to you all. It was really nice hearing to one of the speakers, and I would love to hear to the other speakers as well. Okay, so getting down to the topic, sustainable consumption. We are consuming so much that our Mother Earth is saying, stop, otherwise you will all get extinct. And that is why in the agenda of Sustainable Development to 2030, sustainable consumption is a very important part of how we see the future. And we need to act. We need to do something on ourselves as well. We can't just rely on the governments. We can't just rely on the companies to do something. We need to do something on ourselves. And what are we talking about? What is the challenge today? The 21st century challenge is that we have too much that we don't need. And products are designed in a way that they are going to be wasted. They have a deadline. We take products, we take things from the Earth's crust, and we put an expiry date on them by processing them. And we make so much, but it doesn't reach to enough people. It is estimated that about 27% of the food products that have created never reach the consumers. It is wasted. We need to understand how to build a sustainable consumption pattern so that this doesn't happen. There are people who are doing something. This is Rob Greenfield. What they do is these huge supermarkets, they have an obligation to dispose food as soon as they're past the expiry date. But these companies put the expiry date to be on the safer side and not till the point that the product is actually wasted. You'll be surprised that everything that you see on your screen at the moment is disposed food. But you can see how fresh is it. That's why they take this from the dumpsters. They call it dumpster diving. They go to the dumpsters, the garbage of these huge supermarkets, and these things are recovered from the dumpster. And they put it out in the community parks for people who are homeless or people who don't have access to food to take it and eat it. Okay, if we had more time, I would probably love to have an engagement on this or have a discussion on this. Just think about yourself, think in your mind what this could be. Maybe most of the students or the participants I talked about this think that's a pipeline, or it's some kind of a mesh, or it's some kind of a circuit. And now if we go a little closer, I'm like, it still seems like that. But then if I make it still like go closer to it, then you can see these are plastic cups. And this is an art which is created by Chris Jordan, and which shows 1 million disposable plastic cups. And this represents number of plastic cups used by US airlines every 6 hours. Just 6 hours, not even 24 hours, 6 hours. So 1 million disposable plastic cup in one country in 6 hours. So if you multiply it by the number of days, number of hours in the days, or number of days, the month, year, number of countries, number of airlines, the number would be unimaginable. And there are global commons which are under threat. This is a bottled air, and the smog in China inspired the Canadians to sell bottled air, and this was a few years ago, even before the COVID-19 pandemic. And now we already see that we have to wear masks. Maybe we will have a new normal only with masks, or maybe future would be without the mask. We still don't know. But maybe there would be a time, if we are not treating our environment, climate in a proper way, that we might have to buy bottled air and carry it with us, just like we're carrying our masks. This is a farmer in China again. Due to the pollution and due to the different factors, bees are going like decline of the number of bees, and 75% of the crops that we eat, that we consume, requires some kind of insects to pollinate. If these insects go extinct, we don't have enough human beings on the planet to pollinate all the crops that we need. So if the bees go extinct, if the insects go extinct, these insects, then we will also go extinct, because we will not have enough food. And mind well, we are talking about more than 7 billion people on the planet are not enough to pollinate all the crops that we need. So it's still, we would probably need 70 billion people, but then we will need to feed all of them as well. I took a case study. Usually we do it in a bit more detail, but I just concise it into a few minutes to share a case of cell phones. We all use cell phones for different things, and there are 7 billion plus cell phones. Some people carry 2, 3, 4. Some people even carry 5 cell phones at a time, and we maybe buy a new cell phone every 2 years. But how does it affect our consumption pattern of this cell phone? How does it affect other parts of the world? These 4 photos are very closely linked. On one hand, we have the mobile phones, then we have the lowland gorillas, we have the people in Africa, and we have people, the militia. These are the people who don't respect rights, who kill for money, basically. And this place, this central photo, is the connection between all 4 of them. And this is very important place from where a very, very important mineral, which is required for electronics, comes. It's called columbite tantalite. It's tantalum capacitors, and these capacitors have a very unique property of holding a lot of charge at a stable base at a low temperature, which is very required, because you don't want your cell phone to be 100 degrees Celsius. You want your cell phone to be at room temperature so that you can carry it in your pockets. And this is how coltan looks like, and 60 to 80% of the coltan reserves in the world are from Democratic Republic of Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo, just in a couple of regions. And these regions are, these 3 regions towards the east of Democratic Republic of Congo has 60 to 80% of this coltan reserves. Now, what are we not told? I mean, okay, all this information is fine. We can find it on the internet. But now, what is the problem? The problem is that that region where mining is carried out, it is home to the lowland gorillas. And now the first thought that comes to us is, okay, because we are mining, so their habitat is getting disturbed. But it's not the fact. The point is that those people don't have enough food That's why they catch these gorillas and they eat them, because gorilla bushmeat is very rich in protein and the required nutrients. So they eat them, catch them in the inhumane way and eat them. And it is not that they want to, it is that they have to, because that is the only way that they could survive. They don't have any other supply of food. Then we have the rebel army. They are there because of the money, and they go to this militia people, they go to these mines, they take over the mines. The first thing that they do is they round up everybody, abuse the women, and kill everybody who doesn't want to work. And this is what is happening because we are consuming more and more and more electronic items. Who is involved? Various armies, rebel groups, outside actors, maybe cell phone companies. It's going on in the International Court of Law. Coltan is a conflict mineral, but still, these things are happening. And why? Because everybody wants to make profit. These are some of the companies which use coltan from different sources. But then the problem is that if you see this chart of global tantalum mine production in 2013, which is the latest data available, Rwanda produces 25.4% of the global tantalum production. Whereas in Rwanda, there are little to no reserves of coltan. What happens is Rwanda and Democratic Republic of Congo share a mutual border. So these illegal minerals from Democratic Republic of Congo are shipped to Rwanda, and from Rwanda or Uganda and Burundi, these minerals become not conflict minerals but regular minerals and are sent across the world. So what can we do? What can we do in terms of this? Cell phones is just an example. We are talking about different products. We are talking about so many different range of things that we use. And what we don't have the proper information of the source from where that is coming. You might be holding a laptop right now. You might be holding a cell phone right now. You might be sitting on a chair. You might be wearing some clothes. Everything that you have around you comes from the crust of the earth. And this minerals or these products, we don't have the information from where are they sourced, from which part of the planet are they coming from. You might be holding a cell phone which has 60 to 80% of probability that coltan which is used in your cell phone has come from Democratic Republic of Congo, a conflict mineral. So you paid for it, if it is that case. Of course, there are companies who source it from other legitimate sources as well. But Edmund Burke said, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good people to do nothing. And post-COVID is our chance, because a lot of things have been disrupted. This is our chance to make things right, to make things go in the right direction. What we can do, for example, for this case, we demand that coltan comes from only legal sources. And how can this be done? The governments need to act. The governments need to make sure that the companies disclose the information about the minerals. So if I'm having a cell phone which has 50 minerals or 60 minerals, for example, coming from the crust of the earth, I, as a customer, should ask my government, I should ask the company from which I'm buying, that I want to know from where are you getting these materials? Is it coming from legal sources or is it not coming from legal sources? Because when we talk about sustainability, it's not just about survival, as we are discussing about socio-political topics. It is about the society. It is about a stable democracy. And all of these plays a very important part in this. We have to put pressure on government to impose laws of transparency to get this information. We need to approach our companies to ask for this information. We should recycle, donate, consume what's required. We might have the capacity to consume as much as we want, but consume what is required. It is this, when you have a lot, you can do a lot, but you should do what is required. That's very important. And as a business or as an employee or as a researcher, as a teacher, you are the one who needs to voice the change. If you don't do so, then nobody will do so. Nobody will care. If customers don't speak up, nobody cares. I will give you a very short example. In the Middle East, there was recently Ariel, which is a company that makes detergent powders for washing clothes. They changed their logo because their logo was corresponding to something which hurt the sentiments of the consumers there in the Middle East. So they changed their logo and everything was back to normal. So if consumers speak, companies have to listen. I have a very short video, it's just 2 minutes, which shows an initiative by the United Nations Environmental Protection Program to have give information, a point of information which can be used by consumers to get information, to connect, to know what is happening around the world. So,
shifting towards sustainable consumption and production is about real change. It's about protecting our planet, using our resources more efficiently, and increasing quality of life for all. In a world of overflowing and scattered information, real change can only happen if we join forces. The Global SCP Clearinghouse, convened by UNEP, is offering the online platform to do exactly that. A harmonized information and experience sharing environment to find innovative ideas, partners, and build joint projects on SCP. What is my country doing on sustainable public procurement? What is the business sector doing in my region? You're one click away from SCP. Find out all you need in the database of SCP initiatives, which shows all kinds of actions around the world. Share your initiative and tell colleagues or friends about what matters most to you. Start your day with fresh news on SCP. A new partnership on resource-efficient cities has been launched. Is there any event on sustainable food systems in the next month? I'll be the first one shifting towards this.
Okay, and coming to my last slide. So this was just a brief about what UN is trying to do. Charles Darwin, he said that we know that survival of the fittest and a theory of evolution and everything. But this quote for the post-COVID-19 era is the most important for all our humanity. It's not the strongest of species that will survive, nor the most intelligent of them, but the one who is most responsive to change. If we can adapt to the change, we can make it the new normal, our own, then our small actions will reflect giant changes in the future. And this is what I appeal you all to do. Spend 1 minute every day, just 1 minute, on doing something that would help the environment or help the climate or be responsible towards sustainable development goals. Just 1 minute. Imagine if 7 billion people spend 1 minute every day. It is 7 billion minutes of time spent on sustainable development activities every day. This is what we need. We need to integrate. Not one man, not one government, one country, one region cannot bring about a change. It has to be all of us. And that is my message to all of you through this presentation. Consume sustainably, consume responsibly, and what you do today will ensure the future of humanity on this planet. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we give applause for Dr. Yash. Yeah, thank you very much for your very interesting explanations. Yeah, explaining that right now there are a lot of changing in the world and the consumerism is exists. Otherwise, yeah, because I think that less of the responsibility among the people, then consumerism has already caused some of gaps, even also the exploitations of the rich toward the poor, even also the man to the animals. Yeah, I think that later we will discuss after all the speakers convey their presentations. Okay, now let's we come to the third speakers, Professor Perasit Kamunasilpa from Konkan University, Thailand. I think that he would like to explain, I think that in a political perspective, yeah? Professor Perasit, the time is yours.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished participants, first I would like to thank Dr. Oman Sukmana for this opportunity to present a keynote speech on social and political issue on sustainable development in post-COVID-19 crisis. I think this is a topic that is of deep interest as we go through. When I said said we, I mean, when Thailand go through the third wave of the COVID pandemic. I do not have a slide, but I think my talk can be very concise and I don't need to show the PowerPoint. The theme that I would be talking today to point to aspects. The first one is that this is a case when sometimes you cannot sustain the success, sustainability in this case, I mean, sustainable management, sustainability, and it's also, the other point is that, when you control, when some power in the country want to centralize all the management responsibility into a few person or even one person, that's a recipe of failure. So those are the two points that I would like to walk you through by explaining what happened in Thailand and using the case of Khon Kaen province where we did a small case study. So I would like to say that in my talk today, I would like to tell you about the benefits of local participation, local autonomy when facing a crisis such as COVID-19, First, I would like to give you a little history about COVID in Khon Kaen and in Thailand. In January, about 6 months ago, I and two of my faculty members at the College of Local Administration, Khon Kaen University, co-authored an article titled Locally Driven Action in Pandemic Control, a case of Khon Kaen province. This article presented the result of a study we carry out to examine and describe the local action taken in the COVID-19 and prevention measure in Khon Kaen province, which means a locally management driven style. But please bear in mind that this was the first wave of the pandemic, which means that I studied the first wave of the pandemic. Now we have the third wave of the pandemic. So please keep that in mind. Thailand was among the leading nations in the world in COVID control. I'd like to tell you that a bit about the success of the measure that we took in Khon Kaen during the first wave. Therefore, the question that we ask is what really go wrong after that, So I would to give you a little understanding about Khon Kaen. Khon Kaen province is in the northeast of Thailand. It is about 470 kilometers. 170 kilometers from the Lao border, 140 about 400 some kilometers from Bangkok. It has a population of 1.8 million and is the fourth largest province in the country. The primary city and the seat of provincial government is Khon Kaen municipality with a population of about 400,000. During the first wave, there were little leadership or direction from the central government. In other words, when we learned that there's a widespread of COVID-19, everyone in Thailand didn't know what to do, So during that first wave, the central government established the Center for the Outbreak of Coronavirus in December of 2019, and they delivered a policy to all provinces to make them aware of the danger of the virus posed and to warn that it was spreading quickly throughout the country. Okay, that's more like a create an awareness. But however, the responsibility for taking the virus was left to the provincial government. The central government just said, we have a serious problem of COVID-19, but didn't really tell us what to do. And I think that really a blessing in disguise, not telling us what to do, because this is a case when humans know how to protect themselves, what to do, And so the Provincial Communicable Disease Committee set guidelines and guided all action of controlling communicable disease within the province. And you have to understand that Thailand had a system in which operations start from the central government and progress down to the regional and local level to enable prompt response to the situation. However, in that case, provincial authorities and local administration organization did not simply just wait for direction from the central government before taking any action. In other words, we do not wait for them to tell us what to do. As soon as the outbreak began in Thailand, authority in Khon Kaen made plans and were prepared in advance of receiving the central mandates. An emergency decree was issued by the national government to restrict access to public venue during specified time. They control certain locations where there was a high risk of transmission, and to require wearing a mask what I would say common general knowledge that they issue and disseminate to the people, but the real action is belong to the local people. Local government throughout Khon Kaen province set up surveillance point to identify visitors from outside of the community and check the body temperature of all persons who travel into the communities. This is done by the local people. Within each community, local government clearly communicated and updated the situation regarding the infection rates and area that citizens should avoid traveling to. This naturally in itself create a smooth and strong collaboration between and among the citizens to local government organizations, especially at the municipal and sub-district administrative organization levels. The ability to make financial decisions without requiring prior approval from higher levels is an important part of quickly implementing policy. So there were many cases in Thailand where area had not been allocated funds to cover the unanticipated expense. In other words, what I'm trying to, in this situation where the local people would have to wait because the management, the political system have been decided where, so you have to wait for the money, wait for the order from the bank. But here in this case, to deal with this problem, the local administrator used their own discretion to approve the use of the emergency fund. I emphasize that this is a bold step in system where fiscal approval almost always have to come from the higher level. In the past, if any local government that authorized the use of the money, there would be the office of the comptroller, the national auditor, who comes and said, oh, you are misusing the fund, So, and sometimes they alert the local government of irregularity, if not corruption. So the people were kind of, the local administrators were kind of afraid to make any decision. Almost all the time they have to wait a request for the approval from the central government. But in this case, the local administrator make a bold decision. They authorize the fund to use to control the pandemic. And this also allow the local government to be a refuge for the people and a path to the central government during emergency. So, this is something that the local government have to make a discretion decision and management on their own. Many of these measures could not have happened without the cooperation and support from the community. Village heads, our local representatives who implement policy from the district and province over their jurisdiction. They promoted orderliness in the community. And in the case of COVID, they established screening point, provided public relation, provided access to information and assistance to vulnerable groups. So all this are initiated and done by the local people. They coordinated with the networks of volunteers in the local area, and many were able to draw on their experiences in working during health emergency in the past. There is one shining example of a community pooling together. One district launched a pandemic response operation, but the local people were afraid and didn't want to cooperate initially. Therefore, local volunteers were assigned as go-between, and they received excellent cooperation from local people as the volunteers were known to them. Okay, though. The volunteer understood the concern. When I say volunteer, I mean the health volunteer. The health volunteer understood the concern of the people in their community. They were trusted by the people and communicate more effectively than government officials from the outside or from the central part. A primary lesson to be learned is that from this study is that considerable benefit can be derived by allowing greater autonomy, management autonomy or decentralized management, especially the physical autonomy to the local level of government. It is doubtful if the ability to cope with the pandemic effectively during that first wave could have been accomplished as successfully without the ability to make decisions locally, without the requirement for those decisions to be approved by higher level government agency. Further, the constant red tape lead to frustration and undermine the will of the people to give their all in pulling together to combat the pandemic. I think one aspect which makes Khon stand out is the degree of public and private collaboration. The private sector realized that the coronavirus affect the economy and that the lockdown hurt everyone. Businessmen in town and the philanthropists donated food, basic medical supply, and amenity to those who lost their job to reinforce their bond and serve as a symbol of mutual responsibility among all citizens to fight the pandemic together.
Yeah, Prof,
okay,
the time is 2 minutes left. Prof.
Okay, okay. Now, 6 months later after that, now it's just a few months, 6 months after that, Thailand now is in the opposite direction. It's no longer an example of success, but it's a case of disappointment. We have over more than 200,000 infections, or about 300 per million of population. We have had over 1,500 deaths for a rate of 22 per million. What most distressing is that our percentage of fully vaccinated is only 2.6%, the sixth lowest in ASEAN, lower than Indonesia. Okay, today, at the moment now, there is a great deal of finger pointing. Oh, who did wrong? What would have been done wrong? So everybody is trying to blame each other now. There is a distrust about the procurement and procurement of vaccine and administration of vaccine. Surprisingly or illogically, we select a low efficacy vaccine, which I would not name what vaccine, from one company versus other available brand that show much higher efficacy. Also central to the common issue is the decision about who should be inoculated first. Why we inoculate the politician first before the health worker or the people who are at risk. Okay, so having said that, I would like to emphasize that I want to point to the positive side effect. Don't pay much attention on the negative side. My point is that people autonomy, empowerment, local management, decentralized management is the best of all. For the people, and it's a kind of management by people, for the people. When you have some power come into play, control it within the political system, that's where things go wrong, you know. So I like to conclude it that way. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think very interesting explanation from Prof. Parasit, yeah. Sharing the experience of Thailand, where Thailand, I think that in the first 6 months of the COVID, yeah, had a very good control, right, from the governments, the management of the local and also the central governments. They also have the sharings of, I think that like autonomy, how they effectively also do the kinds of the public informations, public responsibility. Even also they open the participation from the community. However, yeah, maybe because the COVID has already, I think that affect the life of the people around 2 years, right? It's almost 2 years now, so very long times, and a lot of people, they become less disciplined, yeah? And like what happened in Indonesia, previously it was declines, and then now it start also to rise, yeah? I think later we can discuss, and now we come to the fourth speakers, yeah? Associate Professor Khadijah Alawi, yeah, from University of Kebangsaan Malaysia. Yeah, times is yours to share the papers about the preparedness for the servings of the elderly care during the COVID-19, based on the experience of Malaysia. Yeah, please.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much for the chairman. All right. I would like to thank you to Prof. Oman inviting me for this conference. And I would like to welcoming for all the speakers and distinguished speakers, Pak Rector, Pak Dekan, and all the participants. I will talk about elderly, preparedness serving the elderly during the pandemic COVID integrated for Malaysia, but also for the world, you know, because Malaysia is, and the world are moving to elderly and aged nation. And I will have a few of the content for today, but I think 10 minutes not enough for me to cover everything. And this is my introduction. Is most vulnerable group for the Malaysian cases is the elderly people, homeless and poor families who without income when we have already 3 lockdowns. Currently, we are in the 3rd lockdowns. Older people are facing more threats in high-risk physiological and psychological mental health condition. And for your information, you know, from our statistics shows that 80% of our death occurs in 60 and above. And reported shows that 7 out of 10 deaths are occurring to older person, and at least one comorbidity diseases like cardiovascular, hypertension, diabetic, kidney, and etc. You know, for the families, we have also family problems is isolation, you know. It's the same in Indonesia or in Thailand, we have same problem that isolation and quarantine duration and everything is hurt the older person. The older person need food, money, medicine, health, and social support, but very difficult to get in the MCO period. And finally, what the social worker as a frontliners do is they are as a promote social change, empower people, engage people with address life challenges, enhance well-being and functional. when yesterday I saw this, I tried to get the statistic of Indonesia, Philippines, Thailand, and Malaysia cases. It shows that Malaysia is very high and very infected, with the COVID-19. And our death reported cases in 24 hours is similar to Philippines and Indonesia. Everything is transmitted by community transmission and diseases. This is a very serious issue for Malaysian, and every day we can see that every day people are dying. This is navigating for history of pandemic. This is not new, but for the COVID-19, it's happened in all over the world. Is 200 something countries that affected by the COVID. But for your information, you see, we have 1,000 over years. We have the plaque. One of the plaque that I want to mention here is in the Anwas. Anwas is it happened in when Khalifah Umar al-Khattab, when he is conquering the Jerusalem, and it's happened in 25,000 troops of Muslim dead that time. And the military commander is Abu Ubaidah, who also, he want to go, and he said that he argue, he want to go and he want to fight for that. But Umar al-Khattab said that, Prophet Muhammad, Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that when you hear, if you have blood in that land, you don't go it, and if it occur in that land, you are already in, and you do not leave it and feeling it. It means you must have preventing the spread with social distancing. From here, we do understand that predicting the future enable better preparedness in the present. Also, for your information, also, Ibn Sina also designed the 40 days quarantine. First Muslim shows that how we want to do the quarantine. This is the lesson that we should learn from the 1,000 years of information. But what happened in our current situation is Malaysia get the coronavirus first is March 2020. That time we are in the phase of denial. It becomes a tsunami information on media is conspiration of theory because biological weapon, propaganda on vaccine, implant of microchip in human body. COVID-19 is transmitted by air, not transmitted by airborne and everything. It's a lot of information, that time where people are really crazy on YouTube and everything, all kind of information we get. And the second is misinformation on general belief that corona, we get a lot of videos and everything that you must, the temperature of 30 degrees that you can't, the coronavirus will not affect it at you. And the cultural information belief that traditional food, remedies that such as tamarind, garlic, ginger, clove, and everything, you consume that because you get away from the coronavirus. And until the price, the price market on this product is, tremendous and very high from the regular price. In India, especially drinking the cow urine, bathing with cow dung will prevent from COVID-19. India have, currently are the world worst on the COVID-19. Then finally, still we already shows all kind of information on COVID, but people are still stubborn and we have a post-election in Sabah State, and after that, the cases increase, and we have MCO2. Now, finally, after festive celebration and everything in early of this year, people are traveling, visiting families and everything, but currently we have third MCOs. What happened actually is one of the vulnerable group, for the pandemic COVID-19 is the fear, anxiety on an older person. Feeling of anxiety, avoid people, place, and connected to COVID-19. This happened to all the elderly and vulnerable people. Perceived feeling of contaminants from the virus, they are away from that. Feeling of loneliness, depression. People are killing themselves, they are suicide and everything is increasing in 1 year of period in the post pandemic. Severe feeling of guilty, they feel that they are spread of diseases for the loved one, then finally the post-traumatic PTSD. Impact the family and the older person feel that lack of social interaction, lack of physical activities, economic and financial burden, negative mental health, death of loved ones. Every day they hear that someone is dying, all right, new norms and everything, and until the final situation currently is uncertainty. We don't know what happened tomorrow. Is it we are still alive tomorrow? This is the worst case for the elderly and the family. This is a system of, I can explain today, is limited of time. Maybe you can read it after this. Then finally is social worker voice, they are really tired with the situation, the emergency services, the social worker not involved, they are in shortage of social workers, lack of training facing as Prof. Parasit said that we are not prepared for the COVID-19. Actually, we are in the denial stage. Mental health, well-being of older person, or the community, we all uncertain what happened actually in our environment. After that is the frontliners as a social worker. They are giving food, a lot of food, massive of food they are giving in. Until they don't know who to give. Until there is a prejudice between the social workers on the profession, feeling inequality between the health and social worker because they are not integrated that time. Social support service, we have opened a lot of support service, special counseling helplines, psychosocial support during the crisis, community resources, the volunteers, the philanthropists, giving the food and everything, helping each other to survive in MCO 1 and 2. Currently, we are already stable in MCO 3. This is what we, in Malaysia, what we do is policy formatting, decision making, that Social Worker Profession Acts still under gazetted, and financial assistance, moratorium, technology assisted, we designed the iSejahtera to assist all the individual people in Malaysia, helpline, psychological support, religious guidance, quarantine center, because media, this is very important to give good information for the community. Inter-agency community-based services that we have, agency to agency, international collaboration with the WHO to the information received in Malaysia is the same information. Transit center, neighborhood watch and everything to sustain the community well-being. We have collaboration, a lot of
sorry,
people come up.
Prof, you have 2 minutes left. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. This is how we learn after 6 months. We learn how to handling end of life. Then a lot of they are asking. They are very tired and everything. They're asking, stay at home, and we work for you. All right. Finally, what we want to say that for the social worker, for the philanthropists, and I hope that social workers are superheroes. They are, they should work beyond their time. Tele social work now already with the IA and everything, technology service, social media literacy to improve their knowledge, and local international collaboration that improve sharing ideas, provide better quality services. Finally, enhance competency in terms of social workers to continue lifelong learning to improve the knowledge, skill, and practice. Thank you very much.
Yeah, give applause for Dr. Alawi. Yeah, I think very interesting explanations. Just the times is quite limited, but she explains regarding the experience of Malaysia, where the elderly got a very serious impact because of the COVID, and I think that there are some other factors, including also misinformations, the social factors, the physical factors, economic, etc. So she offered the model of integrated policy, yeah, in order to solve such kinds of issue, I mean, by the collaborations of the government and people, yeah, and it also indicates that the social worker has a very prominent positions, right? Okay, now we come to the last speakers, yeah, Dr. Eko Handayanto, yeah, Dr. Eko Handayanto would like to share, yeah, his notion regarding the consumer panic buying in the COVID pandemic era. Yeah, times is yours.
Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, I would like to say thank you to the Rector and also the Vice Rector of the University of Muhammadiyah Malang. And then second one, thank you for the Dean of Economic Faculty and Business, and also the Dean of Social and Political Science Faculty. And thank you for all the committee, especially my thank you for the head of the committee, the amazing people. He is Professor Oman Sukmana. Thank you very much. Without him, I will never sitting here. Thank you, Pak Oman. And I also like to say to all the speakers here, good evening, and I would like to give a greeting to Salwa from Poland. Dzień dobry, Salwa. Hello, Dr. Salva. Oh, Dzień dobry. Dzień dobry, it means good evening, good morning, and also good afternoon. There are in one word, good. What is it? Dzień dobry. And my colleagues from Thailand, Professor Firasit, welcome. I have two students, and Alhamdulillah, they has graduated from our university. Thank you for your cooperation. And maybe next year, we will have also a student from Thailand. Thank you for that. And also the college from Malaysia, we have also graduate more than one student from Malaysia, and they have come back to Malaysia. All right, I will give specific paper here, specific themes. After we are hearing from all of the speakers here, now I will put my topic into the microsite about the consumers. Yes, I agree with Dr. Vina. Women now become very busy in a pandemic COVID era. And remember, they are also as a consumer. And I agree also that women should have protection because they are working harder than men now in a pandemic era. And also I agree with Professor Pirasit that we must sustain and we must be in a positive thinking. And also I agree with Dr. Khalijah that we must sustain our lives. And now, I would like to share in the pandemic era, especially the COVID-19, yes, it is not easy for us, but we must be in a positive and also optimistic in our life. Yes, our life was changed, very rapidly changes. Our lifestyle, not only our lifestyle, but also our pattern, our life pattern in daily life. And now I would like to come to my paper. When pandemic came, it is very important for me to see how about the research in that pandemic, because the situation is not easy for producers or also for consumers, especially for consumers. When in the early pandemic era, many consumers in a hurry and in the same time they need the same products, so that's why the situation is very crowded. When the consumer looking for food and also looking for drink, especially healthy drink and also healthy food to protect their lives. Okay, now let's see how many researchers in the world focusing their research on the consumers, especially consumers panic buying. Why panic? Because at the same time, many people, many consumers need the same food, need the same drink, need the same drugs, but the stock of the drugs are very limited. And then the consumers try to get more, faster than others. That is the situation of panic buying. And let's take a look. In fact, United States is the country who are the researchers have concern with the consumers. And after we try to mapping that the result of research, United States, we found more than almost 200 papers get the research in panic buying. Also in the second one in United Kingdom, in China, in Australia, and so on. But here we don't see how many documents research paper in panic buying in Indonesia. And the paper still not coming yet. So that's why we, as a team, very important and interesting in that topic. Now let's see the panic buying themes of research using VOS viewers. There are so many themes, and the panic buying is still not researched by more researchers here. So that's why this is an interesting topic, I think. And then when we try to find out the cluster, we found 4 clusters here. There are cluster of behavior, consumer fear, intention, etc. in the cluster 1, and then in the cluster 2, business challenge, consequences, COVID, and development and disruption, and etc. And then the cluster 3, and also in the cluster 4. Yeah, we found 4 clusters that researcher in panic buying topic. And then if we see from the categorization of panic buying study themes, there are any consumer behavior, social buying, panic products, panic buying and purchase also increase. And so that's why we propose the model of research like this, that there are any variables that give an impact to the panic buying, and also panic buying give an impact to the so many variables. Okay, now let's go to the conclusions. And we found that the review of the literature shows that the causes of panic buying can be categorized into 4 main themes: consumption, displacement, fear of the known, social influence, etc. The second conclusion is that people are relying on social media for information, communication, and also connection more than ever before. In certain cases, social media amplifies the panic buying phenomenon that occur during a pandemic. One of the most significant results of the current study is that the social media use influences the relationship between scarcity notification and people's arousal levels. And the next research also has implication for health practitioners, policymakers, and retailers in terms of adopting effective policies and strategies to reduce panic buying by better understanding the psychology and motivation for the panic buying. Okay, I think it's all from my presentation, and I will give back to the moderator. Thank you.
Yeah, give applause for Dr. Eko. I think very interesting explanations, because he give another approach using the big data. He tried to analyze more than 200 papers, and then he start to analyze that the reality in the society, a lot of people become panic because of the shortage number of the stops during the COVID-19. However, he said that the research about this panic buying of the people is still limited. So he tried to make such kinds of hypothesis, I think that, right, regarding why it happened and how the future research should be conducted. Okay, we have very limited times, only left 10 minutes. I think that maximum's only 15 minutes. Yeah, we can give 5 minutes more, because there are 3 questions. Yeah, there are 3 questions as it comes. Yeah, actually there are a lot of questions, but because of the limited times, then the committee just elected some of the questions. First questions, I think that I will try to read all the questions, and mentions to whom the question will be given. And then later, kindly all the speakers to share the times. We have 15 minutes, so each speakers only have around 4 to 5 minutes, because 1 minute for me to read. Okay, first questions for Dr. Vina. Why do women have the ability to act and think faster in dealing with the impact of the pandemic comparing to men? Okay, this is the question for Dr. Vina. And for Professor Parasit, the question is, can you share the success story about the collaboration of local communities, private sectors, and also the government in Thailand, dealing with the pandemic and how it affects to the national spheres? And the third question, this is for Dr. Khadija Alafi. Regarding, you said that social workers has a prominent position. So now the question is how to encourage the people to involve or participate in these social worker programs, because during the COVID, absolutely, as Pak Eko explains, maybe they become panic for fulfilling of their own needs. I think that's three of the questions, and kindly also you give the conclusion remark after answering the questions. I think that starting from Dr. Vina. Please, time is yours.
Thank you, Pak Gunda. Why do women have ability more than men and have a good adjustment? First, based on the research from Freshpond Research Institute in Cambridge, prove that women may survive better than men from birth. So naturally from 3 semesters, when the woman pregnant, the baby have a good health and can survive. This is based on the research, naturally. And second, we know that women have, according to the what is the perspective, conventional perspective, that women more emotional. So this is the strength. This is the strength in during pandemic period, because of the emotional and because of the sensitiveness, and also because of what is this humanity sensitiveness. So women would help and care to another quickly. This is, I think this is the strength of the women. I think that's all, Gonda. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Vina. Maybe you also directly give the concluding remark regarding your sharing this afternoon.
Okay, I believe that women in the world can face this problem and survive. And also, we want to build our community, we want to build our nation with a new normal. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So women are powerful, right? Yeah. Okay, now the second question for Professor Parasit regarding the experience of Thailand. Actually, you have already explained before, but maybe you can emphasize some part of the, I think that the success story of the collaborations of the governments, private sectors, and also the communities in facing of the COVID-19.
Thank you. Let me rephrase it a little bit. I think the first, I described 2 phases of COVID-19 management. the first phase was quite successful. And the underlying explanation is that because of the collaboration of all sectors, particularly all private sector, community key leaders, and local government, those are very important for the first phase when we at that time did not know how, to handle the COVID, the disease very well. And we didn't have the vaccine at that time. So everybody knew that the only strategy to fight the COVID is to protect yourself and not to spread the virus to other people. So people have the sense of responsibility. They kind of self-quarantine. They do all kind of prevention for the benefit of others. So that's a kind of consciousness on the part of the people. But then later on, when we had the vaccine, and at the same time, I would say that when the power in the political system start to control the management of this disease, mixing health and economic together, for example, when the government issued the order that, okay, the private sector, the private hospital cannot import vaccine. It's got to be authorized by the Ministry of Public Health. In fact, it's not even the Ministry of Public Health. It is the order of the chairman of the committee on, I cannot remember the full name, but just know that a committee to control the COVID, which is chaired by the Prime Minister, and all the power in Thailand have to come from him. Or if he's authorized it, then you can do it. If even the Ministry of Public Health already makes some decision, he would overturn it. Things like this is an example. Then the autonomy, the people are no longer empowered to handle to protect themselves. This is an example when you control even the vaccination. That's the recipe of catastrophe. In the past, which I happen to be a person who was born much earlier and were in that period, when the whole world had the problem of population explosion, and the family planning program was concerted effort of all the countries in the world, and then the solution at that time was that, empower the people. People have the decision to protect themselves, and they can choose all kind of method. In other words, choice belong to the people. But at this time, in the moment in time, we only have 1 or 2 vaccine. That's all. You cannot import it, and even the local government cannot procure the vaccine. It's got to be done by the central government. So that's become mixing between interests, economic interests, the health of people, and political power. And that's a catastrophe that's a recipe for catastrophe that I think we as our community here should learn that, this is not, should happen anywhere in the world. From the academic side, I think we happen to learn 2 valuable experience. One of the success, the other one is a failure already in itself. It's complete a swing from success to failure. That rarely happens in the academic world. So that's what I'd like to share with you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Ferasit. I think that this is very interesting point, which link all the notions of the speakers. I think that, but maybe Dr. Alafi also can, I think that give the comment regarding this. I think that all the speakers think that the people empowerment is very important for the sustainability, of the life and various aspects during or even after the COVID-19. Yeah. Okay, now the last is times for Dr. Alavi to answer the questions how to encourage the people to participate. Right? Yeah, please, times is yours.
Thank you very much. I agree with Prof. Percy. Same situation happened in Malaysia regarding the vaccine and everything. We don't know which one is health or economy is more important. There is some period of time is very problematic in Malaysia. But what people should do, what community we should do. I think community we should integrate it with everybody. As the earlier speaker said, that gotong royong in our community, gotong royong is very important to enhance between the politician, the local government and the community to get during the pandemic and the post-pandemic, we should work together to enhance our community development. Mobilizing community is not easy. But if we work together, the integrated policy is there. I think we all can manage the pandemic COVID-19 as good it is. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, I think that the concluding remark from Dr. Eko. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I think COVID teach us a good thing for improving our lives. If I try to be COVID, maybe COVID say, improve your life, discipline your life, and also care your life, and also care your family, take care your society, and so on. Improve, improve, and improve. So that's why I agree with Professor Pirasit that we must be a positive thinking. As a consumer, be wise to choose the products and also services. Be wise to buy food and also drinking, and don't be panic. Be patient. That's all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Amazing, yeah. In Quran, it is mentioned, وَمَا خَلَقْتَ هَذَا بَاطِلًا. Oh God, you never create something, yeah, without reasons. Allah has a kinds of reasons, and we are as a human being should think positively. Okay, now I would like to call Dr. Yash Kaula. Do you still with us? Because he was asking permissions to leave a moment, but right now either he is still with us or no? Oh no. Okay, I think then our discussions cannot be continued because of the times. Actually, there are still a lot of issues, which we can discuss, but there are a lot of points. I think that all the speakers have already explained, in their concluding remarks. And absolutely, based on the expectations of the committee mentions in post-COVID-19. It means that all of us, everybody expect that the COVID will be over, and we can live in a normal conditions. This is all I think that our discussions in this international conference as the moderators. If there is any mistake or something which is not appropriate, I apologize. And hopefully, our discussion will contribute, for especially the developments of the science, knowledge, the notions and order to deal with the COVID-19. Okay, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, then I return the times to Master of Ceremony.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gonda, for leading the stage very well. And please give a round of applause one more time, Bapak dan Ibu, for Mr. Gonda and all of the speakers. Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the plenary section is done, and so do the agenda today. I would like to say thank you very much for all of your kindness and participation in this conference, and hope this agenda can recharge our knowledge and also give us good impact in many aspects. Once again, good afternoon and see you tomorrow. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
University of Muhammadiyah Malang. Faculty of Social and Political Science is the oldest faculty in this university. This faculty was established in July 1968.
The Center of Lecturing and Administration is located at the 6th floor of Gedung Kuliah Bersama, or GKB1. The faculty develops 5 potential programs of studies. They are Social Welfare Science Sociology, Government Science, International Relations, and Communication Science. The faculty has been awarded for its academic achievements from various bodies. One of them is receiving an accreditation rating for all the 5 departments. Our students are the reflection of the unity of Indonesia figure as they come from all cultures and races all over Indonesia. Strengthening the diversity of targeted studies make the faculty performing its different characters from other universities. Social Welfare Department focuses on handling medical social works. Sociology Department put its interest on industry and environment. The discipline of international relations has expanded from diplomacy building to actively participate in handling international issues. As equipped with modern technology, Communication Science Department performs its quality by establishing atmosphere of work focusing on media literacy. Government Science Department carries out issues on good governance as the primary needs for Indonesia politics. In practice, our studies will be based on Islamic values that looking at what students and lecturers could do for the sake of greater society. Students have good opportunities to expand their experience. In 2016, as a part of Public Relations project in Communication and Science Department, our students had altered a substandard housing and squalor area in Jodipan. Jodipan becomes one of popular tourism destinations in Malang, namely Kampung Warna-Warni or Colorful Village. Visit UNM, Bread Care,